Hi everybody, Tracy Coughlin here with For Real Consulting. I want to talk to you today about short sales and foreclosures. I get a lot of questions on how do we represent them as listing agents and how they work. So for foreclosures, those are going to be given to you from the banks that own the notes. The best way to me to get into foreclosures is to sign up to do what they call BPOs, which are broker price opinions. And they're basically a mini appraisal, and they ask realtors to do those on properties that they're trying to get an opinion on what to list for. So if you do enough of those for one or two banks and they see you in their system, you're more likely to get a listing from them that way, or who you know at the bank is the other way of getting them. They're really the only two ways. Right now, as of today, which is January, the 11th, 23, there are no foreclosures because the foreclosures are being sold directly from the banks to private hedge funds. So we haven't seen them as realtors, which is a very interesting thing. I'm not sure what's going on there or why we're not getting them, but we're not getting them. So when you go to the HUDhomestore.com, which is where you would find HUD foreclosures, you're not going to find very much in Kansas and Missouri right now. Stay tuned to see if that changes. But if you ever want to look for foreclosures, again, if you go to HUDhomestore.com, you'll find them there. As far as short sales, a lot of times people don't know if they're going to need to do a short sale until you get to the listing appointment. So the definition of a short sale is when the client owes more on the note than what the house is currently worth. And what has to happen is a process of things. So the first thing that has to happen, once you go to that listing appointment and you realize that they might be what we call upside down, you're going to have to consult them with an attorney or an accountant. And I'll tell you why in a minute it's important to get professional advice at this point, but it is because you don't know if you can move forward or not. If they are in the potential situation of having a short sale, they will have to contact an attorney or an accountant to find out if they will be taxed the short of what they're going to owe. So what I mean by that is if they owe $150,000 and they can only sell the house for $100,000, then they're going to be $50,000 short. And as of right now, with the way that the laws are set up, they would receive a 1099 for the $50,000 that they're short, and that would be considered self-employed income. So it's a pretty high tax bracket that they would be responsible for. Now, back in 2007, Obama passed the Debt Forgiveness Act that lasted until 2017, but it's now expired. And the Short Sale Debt Forgiveness Act waived that. So that not only could they do the short sale, but they could also not get taxed on the short. But as of right now, that's the case. So that's why I say send them to somebody so that they can talk to them, because it might not be the best plan for them to do a short sale if they're going to have a very large tax bill coming in the mail. So that's above our expertise as realtors, and we need to be really careful to stay in our lanes and make sure that they're getting the advice that they need to get. But if you've gotten to the point where they say, yes, we want to do a short sale, the first thing that has to happen is they have to go to their loan holder and get approved for a short sale. And the bank is going to be looking at their financial position and determining whether they qualify or not. And again, as of right now, the rules are that it has to be tied to a loss of a job, tied to a loss of a family member. Something major has had to happen in their life to cause an inability to pay. So, and this is a natural act, if you will. They can't quit their job. They can't just go and spend a ton of money and say, I have no more money. They have to show on paper and get financially naked with the bank to prove that they are in fact qualified for a short sale. If the bank then approves that and says, yes, you're approved for a short sale, then we come in as agents and we list the house. Now, this is where it gets really tricky, because there's two ways of doing short sales with banks. One is called a pre-approved, where they've already gone ahead and done an appraisal and everything, and they let you know what they want you to have the house listed for. And a not pre-approved short sale is where they just tell you to list the house and you throw a dart at the board and see what happens. And I mean, you give it your best shot as far as what you think the house should be priced at, but you don't know what they're going to accept on the other end. So it's a complicated process. There's a lot involved with going back and forth with the bank and with the seller. You get permission from the seller to speak to the bank on their behalf. And after they sign off on the fact that, yes, I want to list the house, and then once they get an offer in and they get it accepted, then it's really just you and the bank going back and forth at that point and coming to a number that makes sense. The issues with the short sales at this point are they're time consuming. They take a long time. One of my short sales took me 364 days to close, so almost a year. So it depends on the bank that you're dealing with. It depends on their system, if they have it pre-approved or not. But just so that you know, the process is that the seller themselves have to get approved and prove that they had an involuntary inability to pay. And then once they can do that and we can list the house, then it's just a negotiation between the bank and the buyer, if you will, going back and forth on what they'll accept. So my advice is learn how to do them. But if you really don't like them, refer them out because it's a lot of work, and it's I used to call them charity work because it takes a long time to get them closed. Some people are really, really good at it and really, really like it. I know an agent here in town who has special relationships with all of the proper departments at the banks, and each bank, she knows who to talk to and how to get things done. She's worked a really long time to do that. So when it comes to contacting the right people and getting the job done, she's really, really good at that. So mentor with someone, hang out with someone who understands the process and understand how it works. The other piece of advice I'd like to give is that the buyer who's buying the home needs to be okay with, we're not sure when this is going to close, because it could take 30 days, it could take 60 days, it could take a year. Just again, depending on the loan process, the company that you're dealing with as far as the loan is concerned. So again, I'm saying this because I think it's important. They're coming to our market real soon. There's a whole lot of people who overpaid for homes in the last couple of years, and they're going to be upset when they're upside down and they owe more than their house is worth. So there'll be some short sales that'll be coming. So contact me if you have any questions, and I'd be more than happy to help. Thanks.